Hey everybody, welcome to the J&J Sports Express for week 11 of the 2022 NFL season. I'm your co-host Jeff Cadillac with, as usual, my co-host for the evening, JB Ellis. JB, how you doing tonight?
Doing good, doing good. What about you?
I'm okay. A little casual tonight. I got my CFL sideline jacket with the Montreal Alouettes. I know you're usually wearing a tie and a shirt, but I said tonight, hey, go different. But
There you
you know,
go.
this past weekend, I'll tell you something. Three games that really annoyed me the most because of three big losses and three big leads that went south was the Dallas game. Dallas up 28-14. You see, that was my pick of the week. And
That was horrible.
Mike McCarthy coming back to Green Bay. He's telling everybody, "I want this game. I want this game." Well, Dak Prescott didn't get the memo. He threw two interceptions that turned into 14 points for Green Bay. He's terrible, and the defense for Dallas, they didn't do the job. I mean, it was a total crap show.
Couldn't stop the run. They could
They,
not
yeah,
stop the run.
they're terrible when it comes to that. They blew that game. I mean, Dallas should have had 28-14 in the fourth quarter. There's no excuses. Buffalo 27-10, shouldn't be losing that game either. Josh Allen, two interceptions, a fumble. I mean, the defense just went south. These things shouldn't be happening. I give Minnesota a lot of credit. They didn't give up. They deserve the win, but Buffalo does not deserve. They deserve to lose that game because the defense totally went south. And the other
Yeah.
game, Chicago, 28-14 in the fourth quarter. Also, hey, you can't be losing these games. You give up a touch. The defense for Chicago also went south. They give up a touchdown. Then Justin Fields throws a pick six, and then you got a missed extra point. They deserve to lose as well. It's just sloppy football. Three games, ridiculous. It just shouldn't have happened on those three games. But anyway, we got a new slate of games for this weekend, so let's get right to it. First game Sunday, 1 p.m. We're looking at Philly at Indianapolis. Philly's on the road, laying 7.5. How you liking this one, JB?
So the one thing that scares me more than anything is the fact that Philly has a loss now. You know, because nobody's going undefeated. Now that they got this loss, they're going to come into Indianapolis. They're going to run all over them. They're going to score. Their defense, which is pretty good, is going to play really good D. Um, Saturday is going to wish he was coaching on Saturday because on Sunday it's going to be ugly. He's about to be 1-1. Matt Ryan not going to be quick enough to avoid the pass rush. He's going to be on the ground often. Taylor is the key to their game this week. He needs to run the ball as often as possible, as much as possible. But I still don't see this any way of being anywhere but a double-digit Philadelphia win, especially after the loss.
Well, I think I liked Washington last week plus 11. I think they did what they needed to do in ball control. I was watching that game very closely. They did what they had to do to win, and Philadelphia wasn't prepared for it. Now, if Indianapolis does the same thing this week with ball control, they could win as well. They need to study that film because also Jordan Davis up front, the defensive tackle, he's out. You also got another injury in the game. Dallas Goddard, he's their number one receiver. He's out. Um, Indianapolis, Jeff Saturday, that was a big surprise. If I knew that Matt Ryan was going to be the quarterback last week against Vegas, I would have taken Indianapolis because they swapped out Sam Ellinger at the last minute. They didn't really tell anybody. So I basically picked that game, Vegas laying the points against Sam Ellinger. Not that Vegas has their own problems. But I like Indianapolis in this game at home. I think it was a good thing that Philadelphia did lose because then you start correcting things. A team keeps winning, they think everything's honky-dory until something comes down the road, and then they start really losing. And then they figure they can't understand why. Philadelphia, they showed a few open spots on their team, not really that many. They're a solid team, but they can be beat, and Washington showed it. And I loved Washington on Monday night. Indianapolis here, they need ball control. They need they need Taylor, Robert Taylor. I was going to say Johnny Taylor. Robert Taylor needs to hold on to that ball. They need to control the clock, keep Philadelphia's offense off the field, and they could either make this game close or even possibly win the game. And Jeff Saturday, everybody disagrees about how he was hired and everything, and this is not a show about that. He is the interim coach. He's put the game plan in the hands of the offensive coordinator and the defensive coordinator, and they have a tough task this weekend, but they can get it done on any given Sunday. And I like Indianapolis at home. The game, they're going to be pumped. Philadelphia a few weeks ago, hey, everybody thought they were going to steamroll Houston, and they didn't. So Indianapolis, we'll see what happens, but they could keep it close.
Yeah, I mean, I think the loss is a big motivator. I think Philadelphia is going to come back in this one, but we'll see what happens. Next game, big game now because of the Bills faltering and the Dolphins being in first place. It's a big game, the Jets against the Patriots right now. What do you like in this one?
I think, you know what? I always think this is a big game no matter what. And I happen to like the Jets in this game, believe it or not. I think the Jets have shown something in the last few weeks. They have really maybe they've turned the corner. They've showed that they can beat. They beat Buffalo. They were close to beating New England. They're coming off a bye. They're going to be very ready to go, well rested. They have a very good tandem in the running backs with Carter and Robinson. I like that. New England, look, we know New England in the last 13 games, they're on a 13-game winning streak against the Jets. In that time, New England is 9-4. But I got to tell you something. I think it happens this weekend. I think the Jets actually beat New England. They ground and pound, and from the words of Rex Ryan. And I like the Jets in this game to upset New England.
I had the Jets the first time they met and we spoke about it. I'm going to go back with the same pick. Again, I like Robert Saleh. I like what he's done with this organization. I like what the GM's done with their draft. I like how they went out and got Robinson, and now after the bye week, he'll be a lot more familiar with the playbook and ready to go. So like you said, the tandem with the two good running backs, I think the Jets are going to come in here and this isn't, the Jets from 5 years ago. This is the 2022 New York Jets who are right now playing for this division. Now, do I think they're going to win the division? No. But they're giving their fans hope, and they have a shot for a wild card. And if you want to get a wild card, you got to win games like this.
It doesn't even matter what year it is, though, when it comes to football, JB, because it's what's in your heart. Teams can win, no matter what the year is, the week is, depending on that, how they play. Division games are so much different than games that are out of the division. I stress that completely when I look at these games. The Jets, we all know Bill Belichick's history with the Jets. He hates the Jets. Tom Brady hated the Jets. But Robert Saleh, we'll see. The jury's still out. The season's not over. They got a long way to go. But winning against Buffalo 2 weeks ago, that was a nice win right there. They took on Green Bay. That was a nice win. They're accumulating some nice wins. Now, if he could turn the tide and keep the momentum going, then you got something. Zach Wilson is the key in this game. He cannot turn the ball over. I like New England in their first meeting a few weeks ago when they met, and New England won and covered. Zach Wilson threw 3 interceptions in that game. And that was basically the turning point, because when you threw the interceptions, New England was able to get points off those turnovers.
Right.
Those are extra possessions in the NFL. Turnovers create more opportunities for the team to score, and that's what happened with New England. They were in control of that game. This week, Zach Wilson cannot turn the ball over. If he doesn't turn the ball over and the New York Jets as a team do not turn the ball over, they have a very good chance of winning this game outright. And I'm not even talking about 3.5 points. I think it's going to be a close game anyway. Jets can't turn the ball over. And the defense has to create some turnovers. They got to stop the run. They can't let New England run all day on the Jets as well. So if they stick to the plan, don't make any mistakes, I like the Jets also in this game to take New England.
I'm with you. We got the Jets there. The next game, I'm baffled by this line. So let me explain. Let me start this off, right? So Minnesota destroyed Green Bay. Green Bay beat Dallas. Dallas is going to Minnesota and is favored by a point.
And it's
Very
even moved
confusing.
around. It might even be 2 points right now, but it's almost like a pick 'em game.
This is a fascinating line. I think Minnesota should have got a couple of points. They should be favored by a couple. Based on just looking at that and the fact that they just went up to Buffalo and took care of the Bills. I don't care whether they came back or not. You know, you still a win's a win, and to come back from that many down, that shows you have heart. It shows that you got something special going. They have one loss so far this year. This game is a lot more than just Dallas against Minnesota. There's theoretically right now 4 teams that have a shot to get the number 1 seed. If Dallas wants any shot in the world at having that number 1 seed, they have to win this game. Minnesota, if they lose this game, is 2 losses and they lose the tiebreak in a Philly because they lost to Philly, so they need to win this game. You know, so I like Minnesota here. I think if they watched anything of what Green Bay did, how they ran the ball on Dallas and they used a little bit of misdirection and figure it out, I think Minnesota is going to win. By a touchdown here.
Well, Minnesota right now is in a tie with Philadelphia, but Philadelphia has the tiebreaker because they beat Minnesota. So whether or not, moving forward, I think the reason why Dallas is favored in this game is because Minnesota's a lot of their wins have been against teams that, they really haven't done anything. They barely beat Washington the week before Buffalo. They had to come back in that, and they couldn't even get in the end zone on 6 tries from like the 6. Minnesota did come back this past week. We all spoke about it. Everybody's seen it. I think everybody on the planet has seen Justin Jefferson's one-handed grab. That if you're a Buffalo defender in that game, you got 2 hands on the ball. There's no way he should have grabbed that ball with 1 hand over a guy with 2 hands. I'm sorry. It shouldn't happen like that. Justin Jefferson is a great receiver. Don't get me wrong. But what I like in this game is I like the Minnesota run game. I think they're going to run all over Dallas. Dallas has a terrible run defense. They're like number 20th in the league against the run. 29th, actually. They moved down. 29th against the run. They let Green Bay run all over the place. We saw that last week. Dallas is coming off a bad loss. There might be a bounce back for them, but here's also one of the reasons why I like Minnesota over Dallas. This is a little bit payback for Minnesota. Last 2 seasons in 2021 and 2020, Dallas beat Minnesota in Minnesota. So this is 3 straight years they're playing at Minnesota. Minnesota would love nothing more than to win this game. Now there can't be any let up because we all know that they're fighting for first spot in the NFC with Philadelphia. Minnesota, Kirk Cousins, he did, people don't realize he did have a couple of interceptions in the game against Buffalo. And the defense did bail him out, but they did play smart ball. Dalvin Cook had that 81-yard run. I mean, the whole team just didn't let down when they were down 27-10. It shows a lot of heart. And I do like Minnesota in this game. I think Minnesota should be able to run all day on Dallas, without a doubt.
I think this is Dalvin Cook's day. I mean, it's set up for him and Madison to have big days, and I think they need them both.
They need to run as long as they can run and do, play their game. Kirk Cousins won't get into trouble. He's the kind of guy, he can't carry the team by himself. He's not that kind of quarterback. He needs a dependable run game. He gets a dependable run game from Dalvin Cook and Mr. Madison. They're gonna beat Dallas, nicely.
And this really is a huge game for the number 1 seed because Dallas 2 games behind the Eagles in Minnesota. If they win this game, they give the Minnesota the second loss, and the Eagles figure are going to lose a couple of more, I'm sure, throughout the season. So Dallas has to, if they want to have any shot at it, has to win this game.
Well, Dak Prescott showed everybody he's a 4th-round draft choice last week. That was a money game. That was a winnable game. It was a must-win game. His 2 turnovers turned into 14 points. He makes bad decisions all the time. He is not a great quarterback. He's overpaid, and I never had faith in him. You put him on the big stage, he loses. That's the way Dak Prescott is. He's not money. He's not somebody you can rely on. If you need a game to win, I would not put him as the quarterback. Fantasy, big deal. So what? Doesn't mean anything. He's got a big bank account, but he can't get the wins you need. So
that's a good point. But I mean, I like Minnesota here.
Okay. Let's move to the next game. You're talking Sunday night. The Kansas City Chiefs at the Chargers. Kansas City's laying 7. Who do you like, JB?
It's a tough game. The Chargers seem to play them well, but the Chargers don't seem right this year. There's something off. Maybe it was when Herbert got hurt earlier in the year and he just never got better. Their receivers are banged up. You know, Eckler's been unbelievable, but Herbert hasn't really had anyone to get the ball to. You know, with the rotating cast of injured receivers, Williams is questionable to come back this week. Who knows what he'll be able to come back? Yeah, who knows what either one will be able to do coming back. I got to go with Kansas City until they prove me wrong.
Well, I got to disagree with you on this one. I like the Chargers. I think they do. Sunday night, they lost a game they could have won. They were up 13-3 against the 49ers. And they should have won the game. San Francisco didn't show me anything either. I don't know what is going on over there. It should have been the CMC show. They could have won the game by more than 6, which the spread was 7. They had first and goal from like Chargers 7-yard line. They ended up with a field goal. Chargers haven't beat anybody this season. They beat a bunch of nobodies. As I was talking on another show on Friday night, if you look at who they've beaten, they haven't beaten anybody, really, and during the season. And just to get the list out to show you who they've beaten this season, you're talking. This is the teams that the Chargers have beaten. They've beaten Vegas, Houston, Cleveland, Denver, and Atlanta. Those are their wins. There's all those wins are so what? Big deal. There's nothing there that's impressive. And they've lost to Kansas City. They lost to the Jags. They got blown out by the Jags. They lost to Seattle. And now they can add San Francisco to that list. But for some reason, they always play the Chiefs tough. In the second game of the season on that Thursday night game, we all know Justin Herbert. He got injured in the game. He also threw a pick 6. They were down, and Chargers were playing catch up in that game, and they did cover the spread because the spread was 4.5. But they still lost the game. They were driving, and he threw that pick 6, and it changed the momentum of the game incredibly. Put the Chargers in a down spot. Kansas City ended up winning by 3, 27-24. There's a little payback. Guys, remember, Chargers, they need to go back, look at the tape. They're coming off a loss. They should be able to win. Kansas City last week was lucky to beat Jacksonville. Okay? The spread was 9.5. They won by 10. If Jacksonville, I like Jacksonville plus 9.5 last week, probably the only person in America. But Jacksonville missed 2 field goals last week. Okay? If they had made the one before the end of the first half, Kansas City wouldn't have covered the 9.5. Because at the end of the first half, you take the plus 3, they don't get the ball after that because it was kicked with 0-0 on the clock. The rest of the game goes forward the same way because Kansas City goes about their business. Instead of winning by 10, they win by 7, but they don't cover the game.
Right.
A lot of kicks this year also have been very much off. And the kicking game, there's a lot of sloppy games, a lot of dogs winning on backdoor covers, on all kinds of, 3 games that we just spoke about, big losses, big comeback.
Don't even get me started on those games.
You're talking, and here's a couple of stats for you. Kansas City has the number 1 pass offense. Chargers don't have a bad pass defense. They're 13th in the league. That's not too bad. And the Chargers have the number 5th pass offense. Kansas City has the 25th pass defense. So they're going to be throwing the ball. This could be a shootout. I was talking about this game last night with another show, and believe it or not, the over-under on the first game between these two teams was 50 points, and it went to 51. This could either be a shootout again, or it could be a really tight game. You'll know from the beginning of the game. I don't know. I wouldn't touch it on the over-under, but I do like the Chargers getting 7 at home. It seems that the home dogs this year have been kicking butt as well. So, we'll see what happens with this game. But I like the Chargers. You like Kansas City. We'll see what's what.
Last but not least, we're going to go to Mexico.
Right. And Arizona's the home team here. San Francisco's laying 8 at Arizona. Who are you liking this, JB?
So we're going to have some tequila shots. We're going to watch CMC and Debo and everybody else on the San Francisco offense wake up and have their awakening. And the Cardinals are going to fly back to Arizona. Very sad. Hopefully the turf is good. A couple of years ago, the turf was really bad, and they canceled the Monday night game when they went down there. I'm thinking Arizona may wish that the turf is bad so that they don't have to play the game, because I don't see this being a very good game. I like San Francisco by 2 touchdowns, if not more. Their defense is unbelievable. Arizona had a great game last week. Shocking that they just went out there. Nobody expected it.
I did. You liked the Rams last week.
Listen, it's Arizona. They've underplayed all year, and they go to play the Rams, and they went crazy.
Well, let me tell you something. I knew Colt McCoy was he's a decent backup if you throw him in for a game here or there. He knows the playbook. He's done it before. He was with Washington. Washington was like a big underdog getting 9, and Dallas was kicking everybody's butt. But he went down to Dallas, and he kicked Dallas's butt. He's capable of winning a game here or there if you need it. Long term, he's not a solution. And I liked him last week. Arizona, if Colt McCoy plays this week, I like him. Because San Francisco, to me, they beat the Rams big time. They come off the bye, and they look lame this past week against the Chargers. What happened to the offense? It got like steamrolled. I didn't see Christian McCaffrey being used the way he should. I didn't see a lot of things going. Jimmy G, they don't. It looks like again they don't have trust in him. The guy, who knows what's going through his head. I don't see San Francisco winning by 14 here. They barely beat the Chargers last week. Arizona, remember again, it's a division game. JB, division games rarely become blowouts. 14 points in the NFL is considered a blowout. I don't think it's going to happen. If Colt McCoy plays this game, I like Arizona. If Colt McCoy's not playing, if Kyler Murray's not playing, and they got some third string guy, I would say San Francisco definitely. But Arizona, with Colt McCoy, gives him a shot. He knows how to spread the ball around. He knows he's got a few days left in the NFL. He wants to make the most of it. He did last week at the Rams. I love that game. San Francisco's not showing me too much. They're not that impressive. Even though San Francisco does have the number 1 rush defense, nobody's stopping DeAndre Hopkins, man. I'm telling you, this guy, he catches everything. He's like glue. So
yeah, I mean, I agree with you on Hopkins, but when it all comes down to it, that San Francisco defense is phenomenal. I would say probably top 3 of the league, if not the best. That's how they win games. They had the rookie quarterback, Trey Lance, before he got hurt. They got Jimmy G, who they can't trust. Have a good running game and some receivers that can do everything, and a phenomenal tight end. If they let their quarterback, Jimmy G, do some stuff, they open up the offense with all the weapons they have, they would be some team. But they're playing very conservative, but now I think, CMC figuring out how to use everybody, put everybody together, and then we're going to go ahead and take care of that so that this way they can get everything going.
Well, they used them right against the Rams, but I don't know why they didn't use them right last week. A lot of these young coaches, I can tell you, for the long term, they're not that good. There's only a few and far between that any of these coaches are any good, because from week to week they're inconsistent. They can't just keep going and win and stay the course. It's like a roller coaster. One week they look fantastic. You think they're going to go on a roll. No, they lose the next week, and then they don't really show anything. They go back to making mistakes. I mean, you want to look at a young coach that's really falling off the cliff. Sean McVay with the Rams. He's terrible. I never liked him anyway, but he doesn't make the right calls. He's a very conservative guy. He does not make the right calls, and now he's got a terrible team. The team really fell off the cliff. You got an offensive line that's not good. You got no running game. You got Stafford has been playing this year like he's not into the games. The defense is off all the time. They're always in the wrong spot. They seem to miss the play. And Sean McVay has no answers. He goes back to the same nonsense. Keep throwing a Cooper Cup. Keep throwing a Cooper Cup. Well, guess what? You went to the till too many times. Now he's injured. Now he may be gone for the whole season. What's the offense going to do? Nobody knows. Because what happened with him you relied on the guy too much. You didn't open up the offense. You need to spread that offense as wide as can be, and that way you'll have a balanced attack wins games. 27 rushing yards and 50 yards, that doesn't win games. That puts your quarterback on his back because then the defense just tees off.
Yeah, no, I mean, it's amazing to see how narrow-minded some of the coaches are. The Rams had no running game. If it wasn't for Cup, they would throw it into the tight end every so often. He was the second receiver, and that was it.
Higbee.
Yeah, that was it. It was Higbee or Cup.
Yeah, Cup doing end arounds, Cup doing everything. Now you're not going to have him. And another game going is the Rams are a dog by 3 going into New Orleans. New Orleans is due. They play better at home. This is a game. The Rams have nothing going in there. They don't have Cooper Cup now. Now what? What are they going to do? New Orleans, the strange thing about New Orleans is they're good on paper. If you look at that team, there's a lot of talent on that team, but they haven't shown up. That team has not shown up this season.
Very strange what's happened there.
It comes down to the coaching, my friend. It comes down to the coaching.
Yeah, I definitely agree with you. So where can people find you, Jeff?
Hey, you can find me at jeffcadillac.com. You can find me on Twitter at jeffcadillac1. I need some followers, folks. Please, if you like what you see, you like what you read. Every week I'm getting over 3,000 people reading my best bet of the week. Just tag me, baby. Tag it, follow it. Show me some love, And every week here, you can find me on the Rick Kamler Show Friday nights at 7:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on Better Sports Network. I do some spots with Dr. Roto as well on the Better Sports Network. I write articles for sportskita.com in the betting section every week, a couple of articles. So you can find me all over the place. But, hey, follow me on Twitter, folks. Could use as many followers as possible.
So JB_the program on Twitter, Sideline Sports Tuesday here, Tuesday at 8:30, 7:30, 7 o'clock here Wednesday. The Sports Exchange from the South Florida Tribune around 9, and both sides of the coin at 11. And that's it for me this week. If you missed Confidential last night, go back on the Sideline Sports YouTube and watch it. Get all the in-depth coverage at the end of the year, and we'll see you for the off season. But that's all, folks. We'll see you next week as we prove that, JB Ellis is never wrong.
Right.
Whoever does that, I gotta love the graphics guy.
Yeah.
All right, guys. Have a great night.